Hello. I think this is live. It looks so different now. Yes. Hi, everyone. I am live. So excited / nervous to be here with you today. So as you jump on, I would love for you to say hi. There's lots of new amazing members that have come in to this group this week to join this training as well. So if that's you, hello and welcome, and do say hi. Let me know that you're tuning in. Let me know where in the world that you're watching from. Let me know what brought you here and what's exciting you about catching this training. So I'd love to hear where you're from, what you're up to today, and what excited you about this training and what brought you here. So I can see there's a couple of people on already. Say hi. I'm just going to have a sip of water because I'm telling you, I'm feeling a little bit nervous. Excited, nervous. It's kind of the same thing really, isn't it? But yeah, I really want to dive into this training today. I'm super excited to share this with you. I don't know if I'm going to laugh or if I'm going to cry. Like seriously, I don't know which way it's going to go. And it was funny because just on a little side note, I couldn't sleep last night because I was really excited about this. And I went for a run this morning and it was hard, right? And I just could not even run as well as I did 2 days ago. And it was just such a reminder for me about business and how like the things that we do or like deciding that we're going to show up regardless is like being such a big lesson. And that's what I'm going to sort of share with you here. And I'm going to share all kinds of things to break down the myths that you have around these big milestone months and these all these things, online business, all of the things. So I'm excited to share this with you. Say hey, let me know you're here. I would love to see if the comments are working. Hopefully they are, because I would love to get engagement from you guys along the way as we dive in. But let's do this. Okay, cool. So the purpose of today is to really give you an insight into how I hit this 14K month this month. It's a year since I pivoted my business. So I'm going to share a bit of insight into that too, some data that I've never shared before, which is super exciting. But also because it's the coronavirus pandemic, right? And I think so many of us are feeling like we can't show up and sell. People aren't spending money, all of these things. And I just want to help you see that that's not true. So much of that is like you get to decide and create the story that's happening in your business. So I really like to just give some caveats up front when I'm just going to pull this up on my phone actually and just make sure this is working because I can't see any comments. So I don't know if you guys aren't commenting. Yes, you are commenting, but they're not coming up on my they're not coming up. Oh, good. Beautiful. They're not coming up on my screen on the computer for some reason, but they are on my phone. So I saw there was Kaya, Rochelle. Hi. Good to have you guys on here. So let's dive in. What I love to do when we're talking about money is just set some caveats around it, okay? Because I know it can be really triggering for people. It can be misconstrued. It can be all kinds of things. So I really like to just set this up. So the first thing is that obviously if you're a client of mine, I am here for you and I love working with you, and like you're not a dollar sign to me. So I just hope no one ever thinks that like my clients are all about the money for me. That's not it at all. And I really just want to say that up front because I'm on a mission to really show you guys what's possible. And I know in your business, like the way to quit your job and like have an abundant lifestyle and do all of the things, money is a part of it. And I really want to show like you can make fantastic money and do work you love as a coach. Like that's what I'm on a mission here to share. So obviously, of course, as someone who helps other people grow their business, I'm going to give you insights into some of the dollar signs and things in my business. But the people who work with me know like that's not how I see my clients. So I really just want to put that caveat up front. The other thing I want to say is the difference between cash received and sales, okay? So I'm going to share the exact figure I received for the month for you guys, but that is cash in the bank. So that's cash received this month. And I think that's important because I've touched on this before. That's very different to sales. So sales might be like someone signs a contract to work together in my 5-month coaching program, but they may only pay for the first month using like the payment plan, but the contracted sales. So the contracted sales would be the full cost of my program, but the cash received would be the first month, right? So this 14K month that I'm bringing you in behind the scenes on is cash received, not sales, okay? It's important because when you see this stuff in the online space, it's important to differentiate that and understand what people are talking about. That's stepping into your CEO hat. That's really starting to understand and master money and understand the differences in business, okay? And the third thing is like, this is all part of my mission. Like, I just decided I wanted to be an example for you guys of what is possible, okay? Because when I looked around and I wasn't hitting the success that I wanted in my business, I made a lot of things about other people, almost like I discounted what was happening for them to almost convince myself that it wasn't possible for me. Right. So for example, say like, oh, they must have more time than me. Oh, they don't have kids. Oh, they're more young and beautiful. So they're an Instagram like model and all of these things. And I really decided when I pivoted my business, like I want to be an example of what is possible. And that's why I'm super excited to share this with you guys today, because I think this is such a great example of what's possible. Because like I'm a mom with 2 very like small kids, right? Like I don't have 50 hours a week to put into my business, you know. I'm not an Instagram model doing bikini shots around like, or a digital nomad, like traveling the world and using that to sell, you know, the things I do in my business. So I really want this to be as an example for you. Now, the reason I talk about that is I think there's going to be 2 at least different kind of groups of the way people see this, okay? So there's going to be a group of people who are like, hey, like I'm just like Laura, and like if she can do it, I can too. And like there's nothing really different between us and blah, blah, blah. And like there's going to be a whole bunch of people who see this as an example. And there's going to be another bunch of people who are still going to say or think, like it's not that they're going to say it, but your brain is going to tell you like all the reasons why, even though like I'm telling you like you can do this, you're going to be looking for differentiation things between like why you're different to me, so why it's not possible for you. The reason I bring this up is that something people say to me like, oh, you've got these things, or you've got this thing, or you must have this stuff that I don't have. And I really want to debunk that for you, because I sat in that camp. I was the person who was like, they must have something I don't. They must have started 10 steps ahead of me, all of these things. And I really want to break this down. So this is where I'm going to share some info with you that I've never shared before. So this time last year, April last year, I've shared this before. I was sick of being frustrated in my business. I was tired of my own BS. And I drew that line in the sand and I decided I am going to go at this. And at that time, I said, I'm going to go at this for 90 days and not analyze, not question, not do anything. I'm just deciding I'm going to go at this for 90 days and do all the things that I know I need to be doing, but I'm not doing. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is because I want you to see that where you are at now may very well be way further ahead than where I was a year ago. So I did some research last night and I pulled up my figures from this time last year. So this is going to blow your mind. I would love, have a guess. I'm going to pull up the comments. Who can have a guess what my income was in this business in May last year? My first month after pivoting, and I opened this group at the end of April last year. Have a guess. I'd love to I'm just going to pull up the comments and see if someone can have a guess where you think I was in May last year. Just make sure I can see this. Where is this? Okay, cool. Okay, let me know you're here. I would love to see. You can see myself. I want to hear someone guess, right? I want you to guess, what do you think my income was in May last year? Hopefully. So someone said $5,000. Exciting. Okay. If that had happened in my first month of business, I would have been blown away. Any other guesses, guys? I'd love to hear, like, someone throw one more guess at me. D saying 3,500. Okay. Prepare. This makes me nervous because, like, it is so wild. Okay. Prepare to have your mind blown, because many of you could be right now way further ahead than where I was a year ago. Here it is. Can you see this? May 2019, $397. June 2019, $2,037. And July 2019, $1,000. Does that blow your mind? It blew my mind when I went back and looked at it, okay? And this is why I want you to just sit in this. So the first 3 months after pivoting this business, this time last year, when I decided I was going to go at it regardless, and I just stepped into the belief, like, I can create something exceptional here regardless of what I see daily, okay? So May last year, $397. That was one intensive. I took on a pro bono client because I said, I want to be a business coach. And, like, I knew I had all the skills, but I wanted to feel in my bones I was already a business coach. So there was someone I knew in my life who was struggling with some certain aspects of her business, and I knew she'd benefit from coaching. And I asked her if she would like to go on as a pro bono client of mine for 3 months. So I had one unpaid client and I made $397 in May. Does that blow your mind, guys? I really hope that blows your mind and you can just see what that means for you. Because as at April 2020, the final figures for the month last night, when I tallied them all up last night, 14,300 Australian dollars. So in a year, I've added $14,000 pretty much into my business, 13,900 if you want to be exact. Okay, so can you see how possible that is for you? If you are making, yes, D say, yes, I've got the comments on my phone next week, so they're not working on here. So what I'm saying to you is, even if you're at zero right now, 12 months from now, you could be doing something exceptional that your mind does not even know is possible right now. And that's what I really want you to take away from this, because at May last year, when I made $397 in my business, if I knew I would be sitting here telling you this story, like, I don't think if someone said, hey, in a year, you're going to make like 14 grand in your business, I think I would have laughed and been like, are you sure? Like, I don't know if that's really on my radar. Like, that seemed so far from where I was, and I wouldn't have even known how I was going to do that. Like, and not to discount, like, I know the strategies, I know the things, right? But, like, our mind has a hard time getting on board with really what is possible. We're always discounting what is possible. And I see it happen a lot. I see people say, oh, but Laura, you've got this thing. Oh, but Laura, you must have started further ahead than me. You must have done something, right? And this, I really want this to be the thing that helps you see that that's not true, okay? So if you made $397 in April, you, one of the beautiful people watching this, you could be here a year from now, and it doesn't even have to be a year. I spent all of last year only having 2 days a week available. My son was in daycare 2 days a week, right? So it can be way faster. It can be way faster. But, like, don't let that path in front of you feel like it's not possible. Like, that's really the biggest thing I want you to walk away from. If I could make $3,435 in the first 3 months of this business and sit here a year later and the business has brought in over $14,000, like, mind blown. Anything is possible. Anything. So I really wanted to share that with you. That's some data I haven't shared before. But what I did at that point in time was I decided that I wasn't going to let that information, that data, what I was seeing happen around me in terms of results, mean anything because I believed in the compound effect. I believed in building momentum. Like things really kicked up massively for me around the 6-month mark when all of that momentum was building, everything was working together. I was working the strategy. Okay. Really want to share that with you. It's super important. And some of the things that I did, here's some of the just little insights before we dive into this specific month, just to get that perspective, okay? Because there's a group of people that think like it can feel easy, but there is still a lot of work in there, okay? So I couldn't sleep last night because I was super excited about sharing this. And I was thinking about like, what have been some of the things I've been willing to do over the last year that I think separate kind of people, like, are you willing to do these things? Okay. I took on a pro bono client. Like I pivoted my business and I took on a pro bono client, right? Like, are you willing to do that? If you want to be a coach, are you willing to coach some people for free? Like, I'm not saying you have to, but like, it's just an interesting idea to expand your brain. Because I think a lot of people going, well, I'm not coaching any people, so I'm not really a coach and blah, 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 blah. And I didn't want my brain to have that story. So it's like, awesome. I'm going to invite someone in to be my coach and make sure like my process works. And to be my client and make sure my process works and to make sure like everything's on track and like to make sure I'm refining my coaching skills all the time. Like they call it like a coaching practice because we're always practicing and always getting better. I tallied up how many free calls I've done over the last year. And to be honest, a big chunk of them have been in the last 6 months. It's over 40. Over 40 free calls I have hopped on pretty much in the last 6 months. I've given away an intensive as part of a challenge. I invite people onto free calls at the start of the year. In January, I gave away 3 1-hour coaching sessions. Like I put myself out there and really like did stuff that seemed like, it's a lot of investment of free time to get these results. And I don't want to downplay that because I think, again, this is the thing that we don't see in the online space, right? If you were going to do 40 free calls and get this kind of result, are you willing to do it? Because I know there's a lot of people who aren't. So it's like, no, that's not going to lead to result. No, I'm not willing to do free work. No, I don't want to do this. I don't want to give away stuff. Like, right. These are all of parts of the jigsaw puzzle that have contributed to that result. And I really wanted to let you know on that. So I've probably done 50 hours of free coaching over the last year to drive this result. Now, I'm very clear on the boundaries. I'm very clear when the end is the end. Like people have the opportunity to hop on a call with me and get exceptional value and get coached. But then there's a clear boundary where like that ends, right? So like, don't take this as like you should do everything for free, but just like, I'm so willing to like get out there and talk to people and push my comfort zone and follow people up and all of those things. And that's part of what's led to this result. Okay. I really think it's important to just sit with that. Now, if at this time last year, someone said to me, like, you're going to be making like doing $14,000 in your business, but on the way, you're going to do like 40 hours of free coaching and right? Like it can seem so overwhelming, but like, just keep at it. Like I didn't do like 40 hours of like free coaching in like a week or whatever, but just consistently like every week, like 3 to 5 people on calls with me, am I doing something that connects with my people? Like all of those things. So that's all the context, which was like 18 minutes of context that I wanted to share with you. So here's what I promised to dive into. So let me know as well, guys, if there's comments. Let me just check the comments. Hey, Sam, good to see you on. Hey, Jackie. D saying, I've just finished with my last pro bono and it's sitting in that place of being concerned I'll lose my skill. I've been mulling the idea of giving more free coaching to keep me going until I get paid clients. And like, it's great. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. There's mindset things to dive into there. There's definitely things to like sit into, like, are you not believing you're going to get paid clients? Like, are you doing the work to get the paid clients? But like, there's a balance there, like, and that's something to just explore, right? But like coaching is a skill and that's why like we're all always getting better. That's why like people's prices increases and their clients start to get even better and better and better results, because like the skill of being a coach is always improving. Okay, so here's what I promised to dive in today. I've got a big list of all the things I didn't have when I hit this goal, right? This big goal of showing what's possible for you guys. And then I'm going to dive into the mindset, the marketing, and the money mastery, which shows you the things that I did have and I did do to hit this goal. Okay, so all the things I didn't have. So the first thing is ad spend, okay? And this is just debunking myths. These are the things people are always saying to me. I need to spend money. I need this many followers. I need to do all this thing, da, 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 da. And I just want to help you see like some of those myths and some of those stories and things we can buy into aren't necessarily the thing that's going to contribute to the results. So ad spend. So I haven't spent any money on advertising, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, anything since I ran my last free live event, which was like a content masterclass in September last year. So I ran that in September. I ran some ads to promote that. I haven't done any ad spend since then. So over 6 months. Okay. Myth debunked, right? I don't have 10,000 followers on Instagram. I don't have the swipe up function. Like my Instagram audience for this kind of result would be considered small. Okay, guys, I have less than 2,000 followers on Instagram. Okay, less than 2,000, nowhere near 10,000, but that's something people say to me all the time. I need 10,000 Instagram followers to be growing my business. And I want to say like, that's a distraction, guys. Growing your following instead of growing your business is a distraction, okay? Even a large Facebook group, you guys are amazing, and I don't see you guys as a number. Like, I love this community. I love all of you. But like, that's another thing. Like, I need to grow my Facebook group. I need to grow my engagement. I need to grow all these things. Like, this group's got less than 200 people, okay? Less than 200 people, $14,000 in the bank in a month, okay? So just look at this, right? Just look at the things that I don't have and look at the things that you're telling yourself you need to have, okay? This one's a funny one. I didn't have time. I seriously have not had as much time in the last month as I had in the previous 2 to 3 months, right? Because my 5-year-old's not in school anymore. Hello. My 2-year-old hasn't been to daycare in 6 weeks, right? He normally goes 3 days a week, and my daughter's usually in school 5 days a week. That's not happening. So it's interesting because I've actually spent less time working like on my business than I have been for the previous 2 months, right? But it's more focused work, it's more strategic work, and it's more just like get it done, get the most important tasks, always the things I'm talking about, those strategic, those revenue driving activities done, and don't do all the filler stuff, which is like the growing the Instagram following and all of that stuff, okay? The other thing I didn't have was a large email list. Again, I believe in the power of email list and growing the following and all of that. But like, again, it's something I see distract people. My email list, honestly, has less than 400 people. Again, very small in the scheme of things. And I haven't sent an email since January. I've just met with my VA this morning. More consistent emails are going to be coming out again. It's just something that's fallen off the radar, right, with all the busyness. But again, I didn't have that, and I still got this result. So I want you to question, what are the things you're telling yourself you need to get results in your business? And are they actually true? Or are they distracting, busy work that makes you feel productive and makes you feel like you're getting shit done, but actually aren't contributing to the big results, okay? Really important that I want to share that with you. So I'm just going to check the comments. Do you guys have any thoughts on that? Is that like blowing your mind? What's going on? Let me know. I'm going to have a sip of water and read the comments. So funny, there is no comments. Hopefully this is helpful for you guys. Let me know if like this is adding value. If you're excited about the possibility, I'll just leave that there and see if any comments come through because I know there is a bit of a lag. Okay, cool. So that's kind of some of the context of like where I started, where we've got to, all the things I didn't have. And I want to take you through now all the things I did and what I've really focused my my work on. So Rochelle saying it's a big eye opener. Yes, that's exactly what I want it to be. Like, I am so just a normal person. Like, honestly, like, we're renovating our house. Like, look at this. Like, I just feel like so much of what we think, like, in terms of like image and like following and all of this stuff, like, what it comes down to is like solving problems, being willing to sell, being willing to connect with people, and like building relationships. Like, that's the most important work. Obviously, there's strategies around all of that, but that's really what I've distilled everything down to for me and my business. And most of my clients are very similar, okay? The strategies we implement for each of them, like, I know what my strengths are and I've designed a strategy to play to my strengths. And we do the same for each of my clients, right? But when I look at that big picture of it, it's the same, like problem solution, visibility, building credibility, stepping into leadership, connecting with people, getting on the phone with people, showing them the value, showing them how you can solve their problem, and being willing to ask for the sale, okay? So I'm glad that's really like helping just peel back like what's possible here. So let's go through the mindset, the marketing, and the money mastery of the things that I did have and that I was working on, because I want you to work. I don't want you to walk away going like, I don't have to do anything. Like, no, of course, there are very specific things that I'm really wanting you to focus on and that I'm wanting to highlight here. But as we go through as well, let me know your comments. I love the engagement. It's just so fun. Okay, so the mindset. This is actually, and I've said this before, this has always been my biggest thing. My mindset has always been the thing that's held me back, okay? I've always known what I needed to do. Like, I've always known the business strategy. I've always known everything. Like, I've always believed like I'm a good coach, but like my mindset was the thing that held me back. So just like right at the front when I talked about like those two camps, the one who were like, I'm just like Laura, and if it's possible for Laura, it's possible for me. I wasn't that person. I was not that person 2 years ago. I was the person who was like, obviously it's hard to say it about myself, but like, oh, I don't know, Melissa Ambrosini, or I don't know, some big coach, right? Like, I was like, well, they've got this and they've got this and they've got this, and I don't have any of that. So it's not possible for me. It's like I discounted what they'd done and justified to myself why that wasn't possible for me. So this is like my biggest work, right? And the mindset is really two prongs, right? I've pulled it out into two key areas of work. The first was like working on all of that stuff, all of that shit that I was telling myself, and the thoughts and the stories and the beliefs. They were what was in my way, because if I didn't believe it was possible for me, and if I just didn't think it was ever going to happen, how was I going to show up as the kind of person who was a 5-figure month coach or like a 6-figure business owner or whatever if I didn't even believe I could ever get there? All right, so I had to work a lot on those beliefs. Some of the biggest work I've been doing with my coach over the last 6 months, because I've come to realize with mindset, like, I initially thought I'm a coach, I can work through the mindset aspect on myself for myself. Like, I thought that initially a few years ago, and now I'm just like, nah, you need a coach for that. There's only so far you can really peel back the layers and the thoughts and the beliefs and the stories with yourself. But when you believe they're true, it's very hard to coach yourself through and question those. So really looking at like, what are the stories? What are the limiting beliefs? What are the thoughts? What are you telling yourself that's keeping you in your way? Okay. Everyone's got their own flavor, but it's all kind of similar in the end. So that's been my biggest piece of work, is like clearing everything that was like the, like the upper limit ceiling for myself. I was like, well, that's not possible. That's my limit. That's where I can get to. Okay. The second was really, which I've shared with you guys, like stepping into the future and like doing the mindset work to create what I wanted to. So for example, that sounded a bit vague, but like I've shared with you guys, one of the prompts I was working with since, in March when all of this stuff happened, I was like, I'm deciding on the outcome I want. And I've been journaling like every single day or every second day, like how I doubled my business during the coronavirus. And I've been writing that like to myself from the future. So I've kind of done like two prongs of mindset work. There's this piece around like clearing all the stuff that was in my way and rewriting all those stories. And there was another part about like stepping into the future version of myself and writing from that place and taking action from that place and being really proactive in the work to help me get there. So let me know if that makes sense. Do you have any questions on that? So hi, Brooke. Oh, I've lost the sound. I hope, oh, it's all okay. Good. The sound might have dropped in and out. Hopefully it's all okay. Let me know what questions you may have around the mindset piece, because that's kind of been the two biggest areas of work. And that's what I can see with my clients too. That's usually what we're working on, is like, what are the things in the way and what's the proactive work you can do to step into your future self and take action from like the 14K version of you, or the 6-figure business version of you, or the 5K per month vision of you. Like if you're starting at the point where you're like, I'm looking to sign my next client, how can you take action from the place and the belief of you're going to be a 5K per month coach, or you're going to be a whatever, a booked out coach, or you're going to have 5 clients on your books, or whatever it is for you. How can you step into that daily and then take action in your business from that place? That is a game changer. And like literally, I've been writing how I doubled my business during the coronavirus for like the last 6 weeks. And look what's happened. Not exactly double, but like a hell of a way to like doubling it, right? Like, and that's because I've done both sides, the clearing the beliefs, the rewriting, the questioning everything I was telling myself, and then the conscious, like proactive creation. So I hope that helps. Cool. All okay. Hi, Brooke. Like, it's nice to see you guys hopping in and out. So next thing, are you guys working on your mindset? Give me a little emoji if like you're realizing like mindset needs more attention from you. I think a lot of us tell ourselves it's the strategy, and strategy is important. Obviously, like strategy is the thing that you execute, but I find it's our mindset that is the thing that stops us from executing our strategy, not necessarily that we don't know what we need to do. It's that, are we willing to get uncomfortable? Are we willing to show up? Just like how I started with the run this morning. I was telling a client of mine yesterday, I was so excited because like I put my jeans on and they like went on easier than they have for ages. And then I woke up this morning and I did not feel like going for a run. I didn't feel like it. It's fine. What did I do? I went anyway because I was like, I'm addicted to the runner's high feeling now after I've been running for 6 weeks during Corona. And I love that feeling of like my jeans sliding on more easily. So I go for the run anyway, even when I don't feel like it. And I feel like sometimes that happens in our business. Sometimes I don't feel like sitting down and writing content. Sometimes I don't feel like, I don't know, doing a live training. Like I do love these ones, but you know, sometimes you just like, you don't feel like it before, but you show up and do it anyway. So the mindset is the thing that allows us, like if you don't think a result is possible, if you don't think you can go from 397 this month to whatever, 10K, 15K, 20K a year from now, why are you going to show up and take action, right? So important to look at that. Rochelle's dropping the emojis. Amazing. D saying mindset is my biggest block. Exactly. I think it is for like most of us. It's just that our brain is so freaking sneaky that it convinces us that it's not mindset. It convinces us that it is the strategy. And like, I'm not saying like, you know, obviously there's value in working a strategy and like figuring out what that strategy is for you. But like, if you know that, or if you've done a whole bunch of courses and you've learned heaps of stuff and you kind of know what you need to be doing and you're not doing it, and your brain's telling you, well, I don't know what to do. But then the logic is like, well, I kind of do know what I need to do. It's mindset, right? It's either the mindset is not allowing you to show up for the strategy and you need to dig into the why around that. So where is the balance between allowing rest when we feel we need it and pushing through? Such a good question. This has been super huge. I'll dive into this just for a second and then we'll move on. This has been super huge for myself and all of my clients at the moment, because we're all feeling tired because of everything that's happening around us right now. And I think like there is a place to between like balance and rest and push and flow and all of that kind of thing. And I think it can get really misconstrued, okay? When we hear people say like, oh, it's all in flow and it all feels easy and I never work in my business. Like what they're saying is they've done the work to get out of their own way. This is how I kind of feel now. Like it's kind of easy. I know what I need to do, but like I still sit down and put my bum on the chair and do work most days. Okay. But what I don't do is I don't fill up my time with like busy work or whatever. And I've kind of got, these are my non-negotiables. It's kind of like if you worked in a job, right? Who's worked in a corporate job or a job for someone else, like there's shit you don't feel like doing, but someone else is paying you to do it. So you kind of show up and do it anyway. Right. Sometimes not, I guess it's true. Like sometimes in your business, it's just like that. You don't feel like doing it. But like as the CEO, you're like, these are my non-negotiables. So like it might be that your non-negotiables most days can probably be done in an hour or so a day. And then like I talk to my clients often about this idea of the spillover. So there might be other projects that you're working on, like your website or like maybe building out a group program or something, and they happen in the spillover time. They never happen first. So the most important tasks happen first. And then when you've got spillover time, you work on those projects. That's where the balance comes in, because you can make a decision like, do I need rest today? And if the answer is yes, it's like, cool, how do I get my most important task done? So at the end of the day, it's like if I didn't go for a run today, I would have been pissed off at myself all day that I didn't go. Right. So it's like, cool, like I just spent an hour doing the thing and then I have permission to rest for the rest of the day. Right. And I think like there's this balance of like not letting your business consume your brain all the time. That's what makes us feel really tired. And the making ourselves wrong, telling ourselves that we're a failure, all of that is what makes it feel super tiring. So that's something I would definitely explore in a bit more detail. Rochelle, sorry, I just had to double check that I didn't say the wrong name. Because there's a spot for you where you get to have both, okay? And just like I can't tell you exactly where that is for you. If you do want to have a chat about that, of course we can, but like just find that spot for you, okay? Hope that helps. I hope that made sense. Great perspective. Thank you. Awesome. Good. I'm glad that helps. So let's dive into the marketing piece, right? This is the marketing piece around what were the things that I have done and worked out consistently to create this result, okay? I've got a list. I'm referring to notes because I didn't want to miss anything. So one of the biggest things I work with all of you guys on, all my content, all of my clients, everyone I'm always talking about is content and visibility, okay? I decided when this whole coronavirus thing happened that I was not going to retreat and I was not going to hide. I understand it's not the same for everyone, but I decided I was in a position where I could continue to show up and help people. And like, it hasn't all been easy on my end either. Like my partner doesn't have work now and all of these things, right? But like that's just the decision I made, right? So I have been super, super, super consistent, even more consistent than normal around content that spoke to where everyone's at right now, content that showed how I could help people, content that allowed me to like connect with people, build relationships, credibility, deliver value. Now this stuff always stands, but I ran at this. I went super hard at this when I decided that I was going to run at growing this business through this time. I decided, so I've pretty much sat down and wrote content at least 3 days a week. Like it's on my most important task. So like I have between 3 and 5 new content pieces going out every week that are talking about what's going on and what's relevant right now. So I've kind of like made that the biggest priority. So part of that marketing strategy, and I think this is always relevant, is creating content that allows you to connect with your audience, to showcase your expertise, to talk to them where they're at, to add value. Guys, like my content is designed to add value, not just to sell, okay? There's a balance there too, but like I want you to walk away from my content and be like, I've had a mindset shift. Oh, I see this differently. Oh, I can go and implement this content thing in my business or whatever. Like it's really around giving value and helping you see how much value I have to bring to you. So like that's just like the tip of the iceberg, what comes through my content. Like imagine what it's like to work with me. And that's what you want your people to be thinking too when you put your content out. So that's something I work with a lot of my clients on too, is like depth, expertise, credibility, leadership, and really showcasing that through your content. Okay. The second thing is a strategy that I know worked, but I worked it hard. I've worked at it hard. Now, to say that I've worked at it hard, I have not worked at it like 40 hours a week. But it's the thing, like we talked about, I showed up when I didn't feel like it. I did the actions when I didn't feel like it. I did the mindset work to allow me to work the strategy, right? Committed to staying at it and doing all of the steps despite sometimes feeling discomfort around it. I've talked about this before, like our brain wants us to pull out of the process when it gets uncomfortable. And that's where we see people who like go out for a few weeks or go out for a month and then they seem to disappear and then they kind of come back, but they're consistently losing momentum when they do that. Okay, so I've built a strategy that I know works for me and really plays to my strengths. And then I've showed up for it every single day and done the tasks, right? The tasks don't necessarily have to take 50 hours a week or whatever. I'm totally not that. Like my motto is like 5-figure months on 20 hours a week. Like that's what I want for you guys. So it's just important to know, like, is your strategy working? Or do you have a strategy that will work for you? And then are you working it? Okay. So my strategy is all built around personal connection. It's all built around getting people on the call with me, getting exceptional value from me, and then seeing how I could help them further. All right. So I've shown up for that the whole time. Another one, which I think I've touched on this before, and I know some of you guys have gotten a lot of value out of this, is like, I only have one offer. And there's really just one pathway to work with me. So it's not like I have a smorgasbord of things and I have to help like decide what's the right fit for people and whatever. Like I've designed a program and an offer that will help my people. And I just know that it's the right thing for them. And there's just one thing. They either want it or they don't. I kind of don't have to make all these adjustments or be like, and then I'm launching a program and then I'm launching a thing. Like, guys, I have no group programs. I have no courses. I have no masterminds, although I want to. I have one program, which is a one-on-one VIP coaching program, and one pathway in there. It makes my job so much easier, guys, right? And I want you to think about that for you. Like, what's the pathway? What's the journey that you have mapped out for your people that you want to take them on, and then take them on that journey? Make it really clear for yourself, make it really clear for them. And that's how you get really good at selling that process and helping people see that, okay? Okay, so I still have a couple more. So how are we going for time? I know this is going to be a bit longer. Okay, cool. We've got 42 minutes, so we're going to cap out an hour max. So I focus on the problem and the solution. I know I always talk about this, okay? But this is something I see consistently happens with coaches where they're selling the program, they're selling the number of coaching sessions, they're selling the, brainstorming and this, that, and the other. And I really want you to focus on like the problem and the solution, the problem and the solution. What's the problem your people are having? What's the solution for them? And that solution, like, how have you developed that solution in your coaching offer? Okay. I focus everything on that, right? The problem is that like my people are struggling to write content. They're struggling to get visible. They're struggling with their mindset. They're struggling to make sales, right? They're all the problems. And then I offer the solutions to those things, okay? So I really want you to get into that mindset and think about that for yourself. What's the problem my people are facing? What's the solution versus like 3 months, 12 coaching sessions, blah, 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 okay? Now this is a big one. I'm excited about this one because I think I've showcased this along the way of this whole training session today, but I've delivered huge amounts of value before anyone pays me, right? I've delivered huge amounts of free value to everyone in my community, to people that hop on calls with me, to people who watch these trainings or like go on my blog and like read all the stuff on there. Like, I give a lot of value for free before anyone pays me. There are people who are just going to benefit from all of this and they'll never pay me. And that's completely fine because I just want to see more of you creating successful businesses, right? But that's the kind of thing I talked about. I was willing to have the 40 calls over the last 6 months, right? I was willing to give free value knowing that this was going to lead to like people creating more success and knowing that when people connect with me, they want more. And so just a percentage of those people, often a large percentage, are going to come through on that journey, okay? So yeah, I've got the note here. I was willing to give my time for free on unpaid calls because it's part of my mission, and I can see like I want to give you so much value before you pay, so it's such an easy decision for you. I know it's always a hard decision to say I'm going to back myself, I'm going to invest in myself, but I want to make that as easy as possible for you, and I give heaps of free value to everyone in my community, regardless of whether they are or they aren't going to pay for it. Noting, just important to always note, the boundaries for me are very clear. If someone emails me and wants personalized, tailored advice, like that's a hard no for me. It's like, cool, like you jump into my intensive or we can talk about working together, but you can't just email me and get free tailored advice. It's like you consume the free content that I've created generally, right? So like be clear on those boundaries for yourself. Make sure they're super clear, but be willing to like give a lot of value to people. And the last one, I know this is going to make some people like quiver in their boots. It's okay. Is I sell all the time. And I just am okay with it. I've gone on this huge journey where like I'm okay with selling and talking about the work that I do and talking about the solutions because it's part of my mission, guys. It's part of my mission to have like more money in the hands of women and coaches and like conscious people so that they're circulating money in abundance and that they're running thriving coaching businesses that help people, which creates a ripple effect out into the world, right? To have that impact, I need to be selling, okay? And I've just gotten so okay with that. So, what have I said? I sell all the time. Like one of my most important tasks is like, have I like sold to someone, whether that's a follow-up, whether that's mentioning something on a live training, right? Like whether it's a call to action in one of my like content pieces or whatever, but like getting comfortable with selling and knowing like, it's just like if you worked in, I don't know, I've worked in insurance before. So like, just say you worked in insurance and someone like calls up, you know, they're like, cool, I saw your ad on TV about insurance and can you give me a quote because I'm interested to like hear more about like what you guys have to offer. And you're like, oh, I don't think you can afford it, so I can't give you a quote. Right? Or like, no, we don't do quotes here. Like you're either in or you're out. Or like, no, we're not comfortable like doing that. Like that would never happen. And I think it's so interesting to like look at other industries and then apply it to yourself. Like a doctor's never like, cool, like I'm just going to see you and not charge you for it, right? Even though they're helping people. Whether some people believe doctors are helping or not, doesn't matter. But like whatever it is, okay? We don't expect other people to give us solutions for free in other industries, and we don't need to do it in coaching, okay? So being clear on that boundary, being clear that like if you specifically want help, the answer is to come into this program and let me help you, and that's done through selling, okay? So I really want you to like look at your thoughts around selling and really investigate what's there. Because I know, drop an emoji if you do not like the word selling or you have a problem with selling. I know it's a consistent thing that comes through. So I think that were the main things I wanted to talk about from the marketing perspective. Let me know if there's any questions on that. I'm going to have a sip of water and then we'll move into the last one, which is the money mastery. Cool, I've got my phone there. Awesome. Okay, so let's dive into the money mastery final piece, and then we're going to wrap. And I do have something exciting to share at the end, actually. So, okay, so money mastery. I've got 5 points under here. So I hired support in my business. When I decided that I wanted to kick the next milestone, I hired support. I've also brought in a team member this month to like help me leverage my time more and that kind of thing. But I filter everything through the lens of ROI. So return on investment and like cost benefit analysis. And this is something I see a lot of people not doing early on in their business, right? Because they think when I'm earning $397, remember that number, $397 a month, I hired a coach, guys, in that month when I earned $397. She wasn't the same high level, high end coach that I'm working with now, but it still didn't make sense. Like $397 still did not pay the monthly investment for her, but I still hired her anyway. So D saying, I'm loving all of this. Awesome. So glad. So glad. I just really want this to be jam-packed for you guys today. So when I made $397 a month in May last year, I still hired a coach, but I put it through the lens of return on investment and cost benefit analysis. What would it cost me to do nothing and stay here? It would cost me potentially the difference between staying at $400 a month and going to $14,000 a month. Okay. So like, is paying someone to help me get there like worth it? Will I generate the return on that? So I think this is important to talk about in the money mastery element, because I think it's something we see a lot where people like, my business doesn't make sense for me to invest in a coach or invest in whatever support it is that they need. Mine didn't either, guys. $397. My coach wasn't super high level. I think she was $550 a month, the one I hired this time last year. Still didn't make sense, did it? Because I earned $397 and I was going to pay her $550, right? That's where we look into it and go like, what is this generating for me? Where is this going to take me? And so like now I can like laugh about that, because like, was it worth paying her whatever, $2,500 to work with her for 4 months now to help me get to the point where like I leverage into the next coach and I leverage to the next level? Like, would I do it again now? Like, of course, it's a no-brainer, but most people aren't looking at it through that lens. So just something to think about. Support and all the investments in your business, whether they're subscriptions or systems or whatever, like put it through the lens of return on investment and that cost benefit analysis. Another thing I did, which I think is super important, I was even talking to a client about this yesterday, was I separated myself out from my business. When I was not creating the success that I wanted in my business, I was very much attached to like my business being me, right? It makes it very hard, right? Because then when it's like, what do I feel like doing today? Oh, I didn't get the result. I'm a failure, blah, 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 blah. You create so many stories. So I made a very big distinction of separating myself out. And I've done this really over like the last 6 months. So I've created my business being a very clear, separate entity from me. It doesn't even have my name. It's like, because it's a proprietary limited, it's got its own name. And so it's like, I can look at it and go, what does my business need? And that's often very different to what Laura needs. Laura needs to finish work today at 2:00 and go for a walk and blah, blah, blah. But my business needs me to put my bum on the chair and like reach out to someone and write a piece of content and do a live training or send an email or whatever, right? So I really put that under the money mastery piece because it's part of that CEO mindset, and it's part of being able to look at your business through the lens of being a business, right? So it's really important to start thinking about, and I know I've mentioned this before, guys, and people have gotten a lot of value out of that thinking of the business really separate, just like if you're the CEO of Woolworths or the CEO of, I don't know, a big international company. All the ones that are popping into my head are like, not good examples, but like, just say you're the CEO of Amazon, okay? The CEO of Amazon, I think he's an owner, so like that's maybe not even the best example, but still, he doesn't go in and say like, my business needs to create success today for me to feel good as a person. He's like, no, as the CEO, like today we need to do these tasks, and if I need to fill myself up today, I'm going to go off and like do my exercise and eat a good dinner or like celebrate with my family or whatever. And I think that's really possible when we separate ourselves out from our business. So the CEO of Woolworths doesn't go like, oh, we had a down sale, like a drop in sales today, I'm a loser. He's like, oh, the business did this today. What are the strategies we need to do? What do we need to do to like pick this back up again? And then he goes home and he beats his separate self, right? So it's really helped me. And I think we can look to a lot of other examples of businesses to help us think about that. Awesome. Thanks for your honesty. No worries. I really hope it helps, because yes, there's business and strategy, and yes, I can really help you, and I really want to help you guys get there. But I also want you to see like, it's not necessarily what we always think it is. So I'm really hoping this has helped. So the other thing is like, just clear data. Something that comes up a lot with my clients, and I've even been guilty of it before, is like the business expenses and like the business revenue going into your personal bank account. And then like, you buy a sweater from Country Road. That's something I did this week, right? And that comes out of that. And like, there's no clarity on like, what's the business revenue? What's the business expenses? So then when we sit down, I'm like, hey, like, what's your revenue? What's your expenses? Like, how are you profiting? How much are you paying yourself? When you don't know the answer to that, the question is like, am I treating my business like a business, or am I treating it like a hobby, right? Part of business is being across your financials. And I know a lot of people have resistance. They want to stick their head in the sand. And I'm sure when my business generated $397 in that first month, I probably didn't want to look at that hard and fast either. But like, there's something that comes from just like going like, here's where I'm at. This is the hard, cold truth. This is the data. What am I going to do with that? That never comes from sticking your head in the sand. So I think it's important to just get clear on the data and just ask yourself the question, am I treating the business like a business from a financial perspective? Right. Something else which I have under money mastery, which I've talked about already on here, is like focus on the revenue generating tasks first, and in some cases only, right? If you are limited on time, which I know a lot of people are like me, they have kids, or they have kids and they've still got a full-time job and they're wanting to grow their business on the side, or they've got a baby and, you know, the baby's with them all the time, or like they've got a day job, or they're running a different business and they're pivoting into their coaching business. Like, all you need to do is focus on the revenue generating tasks only. I have signed clients without a website, guys, just with a PDF, because it's based on relationships and connection, right? So you can park some of that stuff and just focus on that front of house. And that's money mastery, focusing on the tasks that are going to bring money into your business and bringing that through that CEO lens. Like, that is stepping into that next level. Something I have here around pricing, which is like priced on value, not on time. It's a conversation I have with clients all the time where it's like, well, I do this many hours and it's this many sessions and I would want an hourly rate of this much. So like, I'm going to package it up and charge it like this. And when we shift to that thing of like problem, solution, and value, I really want you to start thinking about like, what is the pricing that feels good to me based on the value I deliver, not necessarily on like the hours and time exchange. Okay. That's something that I've really done and shifted to. And then the last one I have, which is continuously fostering a CEO lens and mindset, which is kind of just a summary of all of this money mastery piece, is like continuously stepping into being a CEO. I know we all want to be coaches, and like, yes, am I a coach? 100%. Like, I love it, but I'm also a CEO of a business, and I'm really willing to look through things through that lens. So fostering that CEO mindset, getting willing to like look at the business stuff and fall in love with like running a business and getting excited about this stuff is going to set you up for so much success. So it's so interesting, right? So that's kind of the key point. So I'm just going to pull this across. It's so interesting to see like what the things I focused on and what I didn't have, like what we ran through at the start, can be so different to the messaging that's coming out, right? Because like, you know, I need 10,000 followers. I need all of this stuff. Like, I'm really hoping that you can see from this, like, no, like you need a strategy that works. You need to show up for it. You need to connect with people. You need to like market and sell and offer solutions, but you don't need all of these big external metrics that so many of us are thinking that we do need. So I really hope there's stuff you can walk away with. I feel like this is something to come back and watch again, because there's lots of nuggets and gems in here. But I'd love to hear from you guys. Like, this is a final chance for questions here. While you're typing up your questions, let me share something with you. So as you guys know, and I've even mentioned here, like, I love giving you guys epic value and connecting with you and all of the things. So I've created a new free call that I'm rolling out in May, which is like a 30-minute call, which is called Your Money Milestone Maker. So here's the link here. So this, again, is one of those free 30-minute sessions where you can get on a Zoom call with me, and we'll chat about what is and isn't working in your business and what's kind of the one area of focus to help you hit that next milestone in your business. So whether it's 3K, whether it's 5K, whether it's 8K, whether it's 10K, whether it's something else, right? Like, this is the call to bring that to, and we're going to identify what's the thing you need to focus on, like the immediate thing, to start getting you towards that. So bring all of this stuff we've talked about here, like mindset, marketing, money mastery, like what's the one thing you most need to focus on to kick that next goal. So you can book that through the link there. I'm super excited to be sharing that. I can't wait to start connecting with you guys in May on that. So it looks like there's no questions. Do you guys have any questions before I cut the vid? Have a sip of water. I guess my question for you is this what you expected? Or is this completely opened your mind to what's possible? Was what I told you in this training what you expected? Or were you expecting, like, I grew my Instagram following, I did daily engagement on social media, Like, I'd love to just hear like that key takeaway. So awesome. There's some comments coming through. Have taken heaps of notes. Thanks so much for this. So many little nuggets of value. Awesome. I'm so glad that helped, Dee. I don't know how to pronounce your name, Cirrus. I really hope that's right, Cirrus. I think building relationships is something I will focus on more. Exactly, right? It's like the biggest thing, right? And it's what we see in like the world of sales, right? You know, like salespeople in even like in all kinds of industries, like the expectation is that they're out of the office and on the road and in like pharmacies or in supermarkets, like selling the thing and connecting and building relationships with people. So I think that's a huge thing to focus on. Rochelle saying, just want to say thank you for the value. It has opened my eyes on what to focus my time on. Amazing. I'm so glad that helped, because I think you're someone who's got limited time, right? So like focusing on those things that will really drive the result you want. And I'm really just wanting you guys to walk away and go like, no matter where I am today, if it's $397, even if it's a little bit less than that, and if it's more than that, like this is something that is possible for you a year from now, right? If you lean into it, if you're willing, if you want to run at it, and if you decide it's possible for you, you could be running a training like this a year from now. And doesn't that blow your mind, right? So I'm glad that's helpful. Obviously, just like leave any comments, leave any questions. I always circle back around and make sure I answer those. Thank you so much for joining me today. I didn't cry. I did laugh a few times, but like it makes me so happy, right? And this is just a little summary. Let's just wrap up here. It makes me so happy because what I want is for you to know this is possible for you. And I really decided I wanted to be an example of that, okay? I'm not anyone special. I'm not, I don't have 100,000 followers on Instagram. Like I've got 2 young kids. Like I really wanted you guys to see, and I didn't even know who it was at the time, but I really wanted to be an example of what's possible. And it's always part of my mission. So for me, it's not even about the money, right? It really doesn't even matter. Like, am I happy? Am I excited? Yes, of course I am. Like, of course I'm going to say I'm happy to be making more money, of course. But like, what drives me more is the fact that this could be the thing for many of you to go like, do you know what? I'm going to step into this too. There is no limit. This is what this showed to me. Like 1 year, guys, 14K in a month. Like, what is the limit? Like, there just literally isn't one, okay? And I really hope you can see that. And even if like, I'm not saying if you're at 397, don't today go for 14, right? Go for 5, go for 3, go for whatever. But I want you to just question like everything that you're telling yourself. Are you helping yourself decide it's possible and you can? Or are you starting to convince yourself why it's not possible for you? I want to be that example for you of how this is, because I've sat there. I've sat in that spot where I'm like, yeah, good for so-and-so. Like they're amazing. They've got all these things that I don't. And that's when I decided like, I want to be that example for you guys, right? So I really hope this has helped. And I feel like there's been some great little nuggets here that have helped people. And of course, like, let's fill up the room of like amazing women doing amazing things, making heaps of money, living beyond their comfort, right? Like when we have more than we need, just like with our energy, we can give from that overflow. We can circulate money consciously. We can donate to things. We can give our time. We can do all kinds of things, but we can't do those things when we're just surviving and getting by, okay? So this is my mission. This is what excites me about this. And this is why like, that's what the money represents to me, okay? So that's what I really hope you walk away with. I'm glad it's been helpful. Now I do feel like I'm going to cry. Just so grateful that I can help open your eyes to this and see like everything we thought was the limit it's like a fiction. It's created in our mind. And like the more I step into like the next level, the more I'm like, whoa, I really, that say like the only limit in your life is you. Like you just see that more and more like, whoa, it always really was me. So I hope this has helped. Obviously, I would love for you to connect with me on one of those calls and book that in. Like, let's connect. I'll give you heaps of value, free 30-minute call, all based on value, and making sure you have a great coaching experience and you're set up to focus on the work you need to do to kick that next goal. And I love you guys so much. I'm so grateful for you being here. It was great having people on here live, which I always love. And if you catch the replay, leave us a comment. Let me know that you're watching. I love it. I love having you guys here. So happy Friday. I've got to go and let Dan go for a surf now. So I better get off. But I will love you and leave you. And I'm just so grateful for all of you. So talk to you soon. Bye.